This is for my nation, Declaration of Independence, freedom of speech, freedom from these leeches. They want us down, they don't want to teach us. They get knowledge that to eat on. This is for my nation, Declaration of Independence, freedom of speech, freedom from these leeches. They want us down, they don't want to teach us. They hit the knowledge that to each his own.
The same nigga that they used to be. It's the same nigga in office. Decisions of the world at his feet. I'm on my pro-black shit. 21 gun salute, big payback shit. Yeah, we on the move. It ain't no time for relaxing. And we marching, and we light skin, and we dark skin, and we Haitian, and we are one. All in this nation. Share Katrina tragedy like I was from New Orleans. Hated what happened to Haiti like White Cliff lately. They want us dead, they don't want black babies. Acting like a new black is too much crazy. Then they put us in the projects like a project. Make us the subject and turn us into suspects. Fuck balance, I'm riding on them offsets. Hungry project kid looking for profits. Stop it, I'm at the table like it's dinner time. Who is Uncle Sam to tell blacks how to minimize? Why would I surrender my position? Especially when I represent the nation and the race is for my nation.
Declaration of Independence, freedom of speech, freedom from these leeches. They want us down, they don't want to teach us. They get the knowledge that to each his own. This is for my nation. Declaration of Independence, freedom of speech, freedom from these leeches. They want us down, they don't want to teach us. Get the knowledge that to each his own.
Big up to my political soldiers, disciplined leader, mind frame, Tupac Shakur. Hold a memorial for the shining stars lost at war. The casualties and tragedies and many more. First you gotta learn, shoot, then salute. Learn to decode the signs of a mason. They a game too sophisticated, not basic. This life's a Rubik's Cube, you gotta face it. Different colors and dimensions, black and white coalitions, power tripping on a mission. Chill out, therefore sellouts and bail out. They want us fall back in the hood and just kill out. But we build up and we network. That's when enterprising with our eyes on the network. Yeah, I ain't political, I'm critical. Our previous nation leader was pitiful. Put him on a pedestal and ridicule. I'm only exposing to you what you need to know. Roll up when you're here, you gon' need the blow. If he ain't on our side, then you need to go. Traitor, hater, stomp on you, alpha beta. My team ready to stand, skin tougher than gator. Assassinate you, snipe you under the radar.
Declaration of Independence, freedom of speech, freedom from these leeches. They want us down, they don't want to teach us. They get knowledge that to each his own. This is for my nation. Declaration of Independence, freedom of speech, freedom from these leeches. They want us down, they don't want to teach us. Get the knowledge that to each his own.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such an extent that you bleach to get like the white? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself who taught you to hate being what God gave you.
Super predators. That's the word they use to describe this generation, and it was very, very effective. Experts call them super predators.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy.
Group of kids who are growing up essentially fatherless, godless, and jobless.
For me, what's more disturbing is the degree to which black people went into that. Animals, beasts that needed to be controlled.
Grandmother say, but he's a good boy. He never did anything.
Central Park Jacker case, they put 5 innocent teens in prison because the public pressure to lock up these quote-unquote animals was so strong. You better believe that I hate the people that took this girl and raped her brutally. You better believe it. Donald Trump wanted to give these kids a death penalty, and he took out a full-page ad to put the pressure on. These children, 4 of them under 18, all went to adult prisons for 6 to 11 years before DNA evidence proved they were all innocent. We baked them. They're cross. That's how we introduced them.
Man, y'all know what it is, man. I thought I was gonna stop. Nah, Rise of Power never, man. I'll be coming. Hey, fuck niggas, they be snoozing, they be snoozing. And fuck bitches, they be choosing, they be choosing. I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? Fuck niggas, they be snoozing, they be snoozing. And fuck bitches, they be choosing, they be choosing. I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? Goofy niggas, all they do is hate. I'm from Columbus where niggas a lie right to your face. I got some fans, my nigga, I got a fan base. She said she love me, but I'm like, that's what they all say. Like Jada Fool, you gon' see me on that one way. I'm trying to make it, my nigga, it's only one way. You see me eating, only got space for one plate. I see you feeling hating, boy, you gotta get away. Hey, money stacking up right to the ceiling. These niggas hating cause I'm trying to get it. Gotta go hard, but don't take me for granted. Switched up on me, but I bet you regret it. Only want me cause you see where I'm headed. Double XL magazine, take the head in. Hey, yeah. I still remember them old days. I was young, trying to get away. Always praying for them better days. Started rapping, then I changed my ways. That's when I seen that I changed the phase. Became alone, everyone moved away. Ever since then, I've been getting cake. Ever since then, I've been getting cake. Cause they be snoozing, they be snoozing. And fuck bitches, they be choosing, they be choosing. I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? Fuck niggas, they be snoozing, they be snoozing. And fuck bitches, they be choosing, they be choosing. I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? Y'all niggas sleep, yeah, all y'all niggas be snoring. Don't talk to me, cause all of y'all niggas boring. I make it rain, yeah, I know you see it pouring. By 21, I'ma be worth a fortune. I've been eating ever since I've been recording. You hate on me, but honestly, you ain't important. I cut them off, yeah, niggas, they got extorted. I'm done talking, that's the end of my story. Yeah. Fuck niggas, they be snoozing, they be snoozing. And fuck bitches, they be choosing, they be choosing. I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? Fuck niggas, they be snoozing, they be snoozing. And fuck bitches, they be choosing, they be choosing. I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? I'm a winner, you a loser, why you losing? Hey.
I'm in Delhi, y'all. Money mission. Let's get it.
The beat plug.
Too many stress in the street for these niggas that be playing around with the hate. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice, that's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas that be playing around with the hate. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice, that's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas that be playing around with the hate. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice, that's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas that be playing around with the heat. Top killing kids, we don't get no justice, that's why we not living in peace. Shooting the kid make you weak. Sometimes you cop me to think. How would you feel if someone took yours and took them right off of the streets? We sit together like peas. How you gonna hate on a team? We at the top like a king. protesters working like bees. I pay for my wrongs, I pay for my rights. So how was we landed up free? And some of my people is starving, but most of my people can't eat. How do you leave people homeless when you living life like a king? We sick and tired of all the bullshit. There's too many stress in the streets. Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in peace.
Cop killing kids, we don't get no peace. So why is we live in the streets? I'm trying to get paid for these niggas is hating. That's why I be keeping the heat. Don't try to play me. These niggas so shaky, man. Why can't they stay on their feet? I'm living my life. I'm taking my time. It should be land of the free. Kids out here starving, the rich to get richer, but won't get a needy the cheese. Life is this life, you just gotta fight. This should be land of the free. They lock your ass up when you don't feed them, or you don't get what they need. You don't get justice from the people, so you won't get justice from me.
Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in peace. Too many stress in the street for these niggas to be playing around with the heat. Cop killing kids, we don't get no justice. That's why we not living in the streets.
The Beat Plug. The Beat Plug.
What was that, Raven? Okay, there we go. There we go.
Here at WTMH Radio, this is Diva Corner Show. You know, I have to do a little intro. I gotta help her out. I'm sorry. We are late. We are having a ball. She was late. I'm late. Everybody's late. But she got some shit to talk about, and I'm gonna shut the F up. Yes. This is the Diva Corner Show.
WTMH Radio.
Yeah, WTMH Radio, 614-781-0754. Y'all want to call and give y'all's opinion or give y'all's, if y'all, you know what, I just want to make this simple. If y'all want to call and give y'all's opinion or something, don't plan to like talk for 20 minutes, please. Just call in, give your opinion, give us our shout outs,
That's my new thing. They done did that. It's over.
The bell. I'm just so mad.
The bell is on right now.
We went over from the Buck Underground Show to Divas Corner Show. We kind of do this every Tuesday now for the next 15 years. So this is what we're going to be doing. So I would like to introduce once again Miss Rashida on her new Black Panther Power movement. I don't know what she's doing. Somebody, I think it might be some white people get hung from a tree after this shit because she got shit to tell y'all.
No.
But
I ain't trying to kill
nobody. She said no, but she smiled. Look, you see her smile? She said no. But if somebody want to do it, I'm joking.
Oh my God. Yes. So as you know, we're back onto the discussion and we're ending the mass incarceration era for the Black man in the 13th Amendment. For those who didn't catch what the 13th Amendment was last week, I'm going to read it to you. So it states that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Now, this original clause was supposed to abolish slavery, but as you see, it notes unless you have been duly convicted. And so, what happened after the so-called abolishment of slavery took place is that we were basically reslaved. They took mass incarceration onto the black men and began to jail our people for multiple simple crimes, long prison terms. We're talking about 6 times the rate of one white male, the black man's sentence is. So he may get 1 year, you're going to get 6. If he gets 6 years, you're going to get 24 or 32. If we get the multiplying 6 times with 36, that's a lot of years when we get to look at 6 times the amount rate that someone is incarcerated in. So I really wanted to
I'm tasting your food. I never had hummus before.
That's why you was cracking up, because he was standing over my shoulder.
I never had hummus before. It's
Get
not
the bell
bad.
out.
It tastes like pizza roll.
You like it?
It tastes like pizza roll.
Hummus is good. I do like hummus. I'm all into the healthy eating thing.
It's better than that damn cheese.
The cheese is good too.
No, this is better than cheese. I'm sorry.
You must have some of that hard cheese.
Right. He used to that Velveeta. He used to that pasteurized stuff. See, we ain't got that to do. Step it up a notch. That's okay. So back onto the topic, like I was saying, when we look at the mass incarceration, the things that we wanted to focus on today, where we're closing, is the privatization of the prisons. Back in the 1980s, they privatized the prisons, and they began using divisive imaging of blacks as criminals via the media. So the youth were portrayed as super predators. Death sentences were given out. People who were under 18 were sentenced to as adults. So you know the history behind that. What would be the point of them to do something like that? I mean, clearly we know money got something to do with it, because money is the root of all evil.
And I'm not just broken down, broke and down.
So it makes you think, like, why do we have a human resources department? Because clearly humans are a resource. So they were utilizing, the black man or other minorities as a resource, free labor. And that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. We're going into free labor. So what would be the hidden agenda? Well, apparently inmates represent approximately $2 billion a year from the prison industry, and it employs nearly 900,000 prisoners, basically while paying them a few cents an hour in some states. So you could get maybe I think about $13 a month in prison is what they give you.
That's a whole lot.
And you have to go and work in the kitchen. You're building furniture. I mean, for goodness sake, some of them in there sewing and putting together your lingerie at Victoria's Secret. So you just really never know what's going on until you start to pay attention to the money that they're making. So let me give you some information from globalresearch.com. It states that the United States has locked up more people than any other country. 500,000 more people than China, which has a population 5 times greater than the United States. Remember that the United States is only 5% of the world's whole population that we're talking about. So that's some numbers for your ass right there. And then you look and say, statistics reveal that the United States holds 25% of the world's prison population. So for a country who's only 5% of the world's population, we hold 25% of the world's complete prisoners. 1/3 of the whole world's prisoners right here. And out of that 1/3 of people, 2.4 million of them are black. And that's a serious problem. So what happened early about the 1850s?
Afraid of the dark.
I'm afraid of the dark. When we're looking at things like this is very scary, because this is reality. And you have people out there who are serving their lives for nothing. You got the war on drugs that we talked about in 1982, the privatization of the prisons, and they started really hitting the industry in about the mid 1980s when they began to privatize, and they became for-profit companies and corporations. So basically, some of these prisons, these private prisons, they have to remain at least 90% full in order to even receive government.
Because everybody knows who Bob Barker is. Come on down. It's the Price is Right.
What number is you guessing?
Girl, I'm guessing about 1,600. But
maybe I think it'll be a dope question to ask. Like Like, do you really get mad at the people who have the private prisons, or you get mad at the people that allow them?
You know who I
No,
heard?
let me finish. Or you get mad at the people who allowed them to have a private prison. You know, that probably take a lot to, you know, a lot of paperwork, a lot of, you know, voting, and a lot of just situations. So it's like, do you get mad at the person who eventually want to do it, or you get mad at the people who actually allowed it to happen? Because that's crazy to have a private prison like
the
that.
government allows it to happen, but it's because the monetary funds that they receive. I mean, it's cheaper for them to issue you off to a private corporation and instead of the government to have to take you on as a ward.
Right.
So it's already cheaper in that perspective when you look at it.
So who should some people get upset at there?
Let me ask you a question.
I'm just asking.
Michael Jordan invest into prisons. They build prisons based off of if a ninth grader can read right here in the state of Ohio. Okay. I learned this while I was serving as a city year corps member because one of the projects I had to focus on was the illiteracy project. And when I focused on that, I had to learn the reality that they are building prisons for our babies. I mean, you mean to tell me based off of their statistics, if you can't read by 9 years old, you're prison bound. So they count you out the game as a child already. So really, who do you blame? That's really messed up. Who do you blame when you have a system that builds prisons for children?
Do you blame the system, or do you blame the people who could have made a change before they can touch the system?
I blame the system because it's already set up for us to fail in so many multiple ways. I mean, when you look at drug crimes, let's look at drug crimes being 37% of the reason why African-American men are locked up. But the sentences are 6 times harsher. And then they even when they did the war on drugs, they knew that cocaine was a sophisticated man's drug. Okay. The white man's drug, you know, one that they would use. So if you got caught with a cocaine charge versus a crack cocaine charge, which is just basically add water to it. I mean, we ain't no foods up in here. You know what I mean?
Some shit they sell at the store to be like, let's see what he said.
Don't make a mistake. Don't make the mistake of letting the dope get wet in your pocket. You're going down for crack cocaine. What's the difference?
But see, the bad part is, you know, like you know me and you, we go at it, and we always conversate. But it's more like, do you get mad at the people who's, you know, setting the penalties and what the restrictions are?
Yes.
No. Let me finish. See,
okay, don't do this again. Go ahead. I'm not gonna do it. Go ahead.
Or do. I know, right?
You can jump in front of it.
I'm walking right into it, right? I know, but see, my question is, okay, we can't control the system. Obviously, they're gonna do what they want to do. They're gonna set the penalties. They're gonna do their money thing. They're gonna do whatever they want to do on their end. Okay.
We can control the system if we.
Listen. Let me finish. A lot of people try to step in situations, and you know, the last say so goes to whoever. All right, okay, we got that. But is it 100% fair to be wrong at them when a lot of things come from the home? Where when they do have an option before they get introduced to that life, that's all I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
Because at home it starts because like everybody has kids, and we do right upon our kids, and our kids do right, but when they do wrong, we got to take that L too.
Okay, let me.
Damn.
Hold on. Let me say something.
That was a question.
I had to cut him down. You done gave me a bell. It's over now.
Ask the question.
Real quick. So
I'm just asking the question because sometimes people
this is the thing about it. This is the thing about it. If we know that there are systematic controls in place and we know that there is a reaction for every cause, then how can you sit here and filter drugs into the communities, into the women, into the mothers, and imprison the fathers? And when they're homeless, fatherless.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
There's no one in the home.
I'm asking as a parent to another parent, if we know that they're got that whatever they doing, whatever they making available.
Right. Shouldn't it be our job to make sure that by the time they're 9 years old,
or even before that, because it's kind of, it's really, I ain't gonna say all parents, but you know, like I know, some parents don't give two shits and they let them fall for that hard rock. Some parents really try hard, but how does the end game get the blame when they gave us a leeway?
They didn't give nobody any leeway. They set us up to fail from the beginning. It was all a setup. It was all a process of failure. What beginning when you got 12-year-old, 13-year-old who having children? What beginning when the culture that we're dealing with, the generation next acculturation that we're in came from the generation X of nothing but crackheads and dope heads. And that's what I'm saying. They weren't even there to raise their children or do anything at all. So the system wanted to break them. The system need to fix it. They set everything in place to break us down.
What I'm saying is, from that era, how many kids didn't, fall for that statistics? You know what I mean? That's how I'll be asking, because we know a lot of motherfuckers that, like you said, just fall for that shit. Like, they just go up it, but like, how many people really actually had the chance to beat it and could still give a chance to beat even a new era? Because back then, when crack first came out, man, it changed the whole world.
It sure did.
I mean, what we're looking at right here is federal law stipulated 5 years imprisonment without the possibility of parole for possession of 5 grams of crack or 3.5 ounces of heroin, and 10 years for possession of less than 2 ounces of rock cocaine or crack. You see what I'm saying? A sentence of 5 years for cocaine powder requires possessions of 500 grams, 100 times more the quantity of rock cocaine. Yeah. So no, because this is my thing about it. When it even comes to if you want to deal with the drug situation, just hold on a second. I don't see no black people owning no ports up in America to get no drugs through. So again, where does the money come from? It's a line and it's falling down. And why is it that the people can fall down from the top and make it trickle down to the bottom, but only the people in the bottom are supposed to be the ones who are supposed to be serving the time? Sure. Because they were already stuck in positions and situations where they were struggling to provide or take care of their families. They fell victim. If you put a crab in a barrel, a whole bunch of crabs in a barrel, they're all going to climb over top of each other, and they're not going to worry about who's getting pinched and who's getting hurt and who's getting bit. And that's the situation you have going on in the black community.
Nobody looks at who put all the crabs in the barrel.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So when it gets to who put the crabs in the barrel, we got the person right here, the government.
I'm talking about I'm talking about the beforehand, like you know me, baby girl. I think outside the box, and I'm a single parent, just like you a single mama. Like, this is something that we argue about. So it's like when a lot of people fall for the statistics, and me personally, I don't blame the end game, because we know what they got set out for.
Okay, let me ask you this.
No, they got it set out for the people who's going to fuck up. Like you said, motherfuckers get more time for dope than murder. That's weird as fuck. Motherfuckers get more time than rape. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, rape you can get 18 months.
But see,
hold on. No. You can get probation based off of the little boy who did that stuff to that infant baby just last year. Now he got probation.
My only argument is like, they got that set. They got that in books. They got that. Like, if you come here, if you come through the doors, we gonna fuck you. Like, we don't care. We gonna give you what we think we gonna give you, rather if they having a good day or a bad day, right? They don't care. They just want to go for numbers. They want to go get that cheat. They want to go get that counsel. They want to become that juror. They want to become that magistrate, that judge. So they already got their numbers set. My only discussion, I said I'm gonna go chime in, but I'm gonna do it. I just look at it like, it does start at home, because it's a lot of successful people that
I agree. It always starts at home.
But it's a lot of
the homes are broken, and that's what my point is.
No, listen, it's a lot of successful
people. Now where does it start?
No, it's a lot of successful people.
Where's it going in?
It's a lot of successful people that went against the odds actually got that right situation. How many brothers and sisters we know that had the same opportunities, and one is the bad one and one is the good one? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So had the same exact.
I don't know.
Had this.
Girl, you know some niggas.
No,
you ain't never into somebody like, no, that's your brother. That's your sister. Like, nigga, what happened to you? Like, nigga, you whack as fuck. Like, really? I know a but like.
I appreciate people for whoever they are in the character and wherever place they are in their life. Have I ever seen like somebody completely, totally opposite? Of course, there's going to be good people, and you can do everything right by the book. You can do everything right by the book and still end up messed up with your child. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that still doesn't stop. We're just rambling around and not getting to the point, because the principle is somebody's at fault here, and it's the person who set the system up.
Or is it the person that didn't?
Which basically
dodge that, because like all I was saying, I'm gonna set up. All I'm saying is we looking at who's at fault. Sometimes somebody other than the system has to get the blame.
They do.
Like,
they
that's
do.
what I'm saying, because you know, like I know personally that motherfuckers given certain opportunities, but sometimes these motherfuckers so hard-headed, they choose the wrong path and they fuck up. And we sit back.
Oh yeah, I know.
We sit back.
You forgetting I just lost my sister-in-law. She went down to West Virginia trying to get her grind on, and she didn't get life in prison. She doesn't get the chance to walk out of a jail cell. She's dead. You know what I mean? So I definitely do understand exactly where you're coming from.
So my only point was just like, you know, I know we're trying to find out what's fair and what's not, and who's at the blame.
Well, it's not fair. We already established that we're not trying to figure it out. It's fair.
It's fair, but who gets the blame for every situation is different, right? Who gets the blame? Like, it ain't always the government. Some parents is out there selling the kids not getting.
I ain't come here to talk about some parents and what they do. I'm coming to talk about the whole overall system and how it's broken.
I get that, but sometimes the kids ended up in that situation because at home, because some kids, look, that's why shit, you know,
who gave me a ball?
All I was saying, before I cut my mind on mute, all I was saying is sometimes I just think it's, you know, humanly fair to be like, yeah, the system's fucked up. We got that. Okay, we got that. But sometimes just be like, everybody's not a fuck up for the system, because some people don't get to see that part.
We know that, but overall, generally is what we're talking about, and it's always
there's an option. There's a general option. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, I'm shut up.
Listen,
I'm shut up.
Honestly, it's always going to be someone who has the opportunity. I mean, I grew up fucked up, a crack heroin baby. I remember when they had the methadone clinic. I was just telling somebody this earlier today, right over there on Brighton Road. They talk about heroin like heroin just started existing. Heroin didn't just start existing. I was born in 1982 and I'm 35 years old, and I was a crack and heroin baby. I remember being down there with my mother and my father while they were taking methadone, and they were giving them one addictive drug for another that fuck you up anyway, causing all kind of COPD and all them kind of health conditions. You get off of one drug to turn around and be sick on another one. So trust and believe me, I do understand, because if that's the case, I wouldn't be a living witness. But everybody's not that strong to be able to do what they can do. We got a phone call, somebody coming through. Let them go ahead and get on the line.
WTMH Radio. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up? This is J Rock.
What's up, J-Rock? How you doing today?
Good. All off in Colorado, Stoneville.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that you called in. So the topic that we're talking about tonight is the mass incarceration era of the black man. Is there anything that you want to add?
J-Rock's a white boy.
So what? I don't care if he white, black, blue, Hispanic.
I was letting you know who he is. Like he's a little high right now. You missed the Buckeye Underground show. We're kind of past that, man. I'm just letting you know who he is right now.
Sanjay, the number is 614-781-0754. That's 614-781-0754. You are listening to the Divas Corner Talk Show live. We are talking about the privatization and monetary funds received from prisons. I do have some numbers on that. Hold on. And I just wanted to say real quick that most of the people who do use cocaine or powder are white and middle class or rich people, while most likely blacks and Latinos use rock cocaine. So when we look at the disparities regarding the crime rates, the sentencing rates from the Sentencing Project, and you can look that up online. You got to take that seriously. It's not something that you can just sweep under the rug. And by no means necessary, I'm saying that parents shouldn't be responsible for their children and take a keen part in making sure that they are raised the right way. What I'm saying is,
our listeners that don't know what king means.
You know what, girl? Don't even get me started, because he tried that the other week ago.
Information is power.
Look.
Some people don't know.
There we go.
They like Keenan and Kel.
Look, make sure that you take a huge part in your children's uptaking. But I do understand that the system is broken, and that's not easy to tell someone who doesn't have a father there or doesn't have a mother there, or their father's gone and the mother's in the club every other day because she broken and she drunk and she an alcoholic, and other different situations that partake into our community and where we're dealing with, especially moving into the second part of the show that we're going to move into, dealing with mental illness and the rise in teen suicides and suicides overall in the black community. I mean, it's not even something that you would normally expect for black people to do, but it's happening a lot because people are being told that they can't speak out. They don't have a right to, or you should know better. No, I'm sorry. If you don't never teach a child to know better, then how do you expect them to know better? If you teach racism and you teach division and you teach them that every time they see the police officer, they should be scared even if they're not doing anything wrong, then that is what they are going to feel. So to express to me someone who probably raising this baby, who don't even know what they doing because it's a baby raising a baby, and I spent my life as a baby raising babies. I understand. It's not a lot of people who are going to get to the level I'm at. And that's why I'm here to speak for them, to bring them and awaken them so they can see what's going on right in front of their eyes. You can't change it if you don't know what's going on. We can run around and talk in circles all day long, but it doesn't change the fact that a black person is going to go to jail 6 times more. If you do the crime, do your time, but it should be a reasonable time. I don't think that there's anything unreasonable for asking to be treated equally and justly. I don't think that race should have anything to do with it at all. If you're going to set harsher standards for selling drugs because you don't want them in the community and they're killing people, and that's how we're going to do it, then people should be serving white people, black people, Hispanic people. Everybody need to be serving even time across the board. It shouldn't be people with the same exact criminal histories. We're talking about the numbers I'm speaking on. This ain't, well, this person did this and this person didn't do that. These are people, and the numbers that I'm influencing on, I want you to understand, are the numbers of people who have the same backgrounds. Same backgrounds. We got Tamara over here. Tamara Collins in the building. What you doing, boo-boo? She's so shy. Tamara is so shy, but I'm telling you, she is so smart.
You done made her shy. She done spilled the whole drink and shit.
That's all right.
No, it's not all right.
Where's some napkins? She said, don't tell her it's all right.
She said, turn over and she went, oh, shit.
I don't want to be on, air screaming at her like, oh, my God, just spilled something. I mean, what am I supposed to say?
Camera, though.
If you make a mess, clean it up. That's what my mother always taught me.
Rashida. Picked it up, though.
It's not my fault.
No, it's just...
I didn't do it.
No, as soon as she said her name, you fucked her up. She was in the zone. I don't know what she was thinking about. But as soon as she said something, she did it. She went, the fuck?
She was lost for it.
Yeah, she was on zero. I don't know what's going on, but
I mean, so then you got.
I was not paying attention.
I don't know if you guys know about the Rockefeller law, but in 1973, Nelson Rockefeller passed the anti-drug law that provided for a mandatory prison sentence of 15 years to life for the possession of 4 ounces of any illegal drug. And that passage was in 13 straight states for the 3-strike law. So, you probably got brought about in California, I think. Florida. Okay. So it came about in Florida. And I think Bill Clinton was one of those people who endorsed that one, the mandatory sentence, removed judges with further them having the discretion to even decide. So some of those judges actually had to issue out those mandatory minimum sentences were life. And that's the way that they were playing it. So what would be the reason for them to do something like this? Of course, money. Like I said, we were talking about $2 billion. $2 billion a year of money that goes to free labor. I mean, they might as well be running a sweatshop if you think about it. 2.4 billion people, 2.4 million people, black people in prison are already 40% of America's black population. 40%.
That doesn't leave us.
That's why they always talk about that polygamous agenda. I ain't on that, but I mean, let me explain to you.
Now, our men are locked up.
I can't do polygamy. Y'all better stop getting locked up. Y'all better start listening to what Raven trying to tell y'all.
What'd you say?
You better start listening to what Raven trying to tell y'all. Get yourself up out of jail.
Yes, but a woman is already caught in the system when her dude get locked up. She's either left alone or trying to find somebody else.
Yeah.
And she trying to find somebody else 9 out of 10 times. He already got somebody. So why are you getting mad and angry at the next bitch when she's just trying to get her rock on too?
I wanted to have someone on the show tonight. They work for the Corrections Corporation of America, and they were mentioned into the documentary, but they actually are working like 16-hour shifts down at the jail or whatever. So they probably listen. Shout out. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be your number one coffee girl in the morning. No problem. Yes. But I really wanted to talk a little bit more about the health conditions of the prison. I mean, you have people who are dying from simple diseases. I think it was some recent story on someone dying from not having a simple hernia operation. So we're looking at the maltreatment. They're not doing much. They're taking a lot of money in. I mean, aren't you paying for those phone calls? You know, this is global telling. I mean, seriously. You paying for them calls. So you're paying for the calls, you're paying for commissary, you're paying for personal items that they need. You got to pay gas when you go downtown. You got to pay to park if they out of the state or city. Hold on, you got to drive there to whatever location they got you at.
And now across the land of this wonderful national monument of ours, the United States, now they're even charging you to get locked up. Because now if you go to the workhouse, it's $45 to get booked in now.
Oh, so they charging you the cost and fees. I thought they've been charging court costs.
No,
that was court costs, like you said, court.
You misunderstood what I'm saying. It's not court costs, honey. This is if you get slated, which means you get your picture taken because you didn't do a crime and you done got arrested. Before you can even get commissary, you have to pay the jail for getting arrested.
Wow. Yeah. That is deep. That is really sad. I mean, so you got prisons got to be filled 90% in order for them to receive federal funding. You got the food conditions. I mean, we're talking about maggots and stuff like that. I think Aramark is one of the leading people who provide food and things like that to the prison. So I'm throwing you out there, Aramark. You're really trifling and nasty to be feeding the prisoners maggots in their food. Walmart, they provide money for the prisoners. Did you ever hear that Michael Jordan, like I said, he invests money into the prison system? So Raven, when you were saying that question about do you feel like other people are responsible, do you feel like Jordan, a black man who puts a lot of money into the community, gets a lot of money from the community for them expensive ass shoes, has any audacity to put money into private prisons, to purchase a private prison built for his people?
Y'all not gonna like what I'm gonna say, because I'm a realist. Y'all not gonna like this. Jordan is a businessman. He didn't make nobody do nothing.
You don't have to.
What he did, he created. Jordan created a product to multi-trillionize his brand. So I believe somebody came in here with an opportunity to invest money. Like you're right, government's gonna pay for something. They just need somebody else to put up their big money first. I get that, but I don't get mad at Jordan because he's a businessman. I mean, did he give a fuck when motherfuckers was killing each other over those Jordan 13s? No.
I mean, do you think? You know what? I gotta say this.
He just said. He said, "I created a brand. This is what happens with the brand." It's up to the other companies that create.
I think you have a social responsibility, in my opinion.
No,
and especially for your own culture, like to know that they're locking up your own people.
No, if he had a responsibility,
clearly he don't got no soul.
No, listen, it don't matter. We're talking about.
Let's be real.
No. We're talking about reality. If he had a cultural responsibility, then he wouldn't only chime in when shit is at its worst.
Oh, no, he only chimed in one time. He never chimed in any of those other times.
He chimes in a lot, but it doesn't get noticed. Like, nobody says nothing about he spends $500,000 giving away turkeys and clothes and toys every year. No, they don't talk about that.
No, I never heard of that.
Exactly. Because
but he does.
But that's the thing. They don't say that. So when it's something negative happen, everybody know. You can make a post right now and say, you know what? I feel good today. I love people. You might get 20 likes, but let you get on Facebook and say, "Fuck that bitch. I'm gonna kill that bitch." And you got 100 comments, 1,000 likes. I'll be like, "Girl, what's wrong? What is this?" That negativity gets attention. So when you ask me the question, do I think Jordan has a responsibility? Jordan, first of all, every businessman over a certain statue doesn't handle their own business.
This is not on over here. It's PC. Not on.
I know it's not on, but we're still live. I got the cameras over here. We're good.
You're good.
But what I'm saying is, when you ask me a question, does Jordan has a responsibility? I don't think personally he has a responsibility because he doesn't all know what's going on, because he by himself can't run a multi-billion-dollar industry.
So you think he should make the money off of it? But I mean, he doesn't give as nearly back as much as he makes.
If somebody come out with a Rashida shoe right now, and you produce, let's just say 700,000 of them, and somebody's willing to pay $750 a piece or whatever, $150 a piece for all of those, right?
Sanjay, you say he gives money back to black colleges too?
And that's cool. That's good. People give back, but it doesn't give attention. But if Rashida dropped the shoe right now, costs all this money, we all know that Rashida can't do that by herself. There's a company, there's a manufacturer, there's a business, there's a corporation. So when the negative shit happens, guess what? Rashida's going to catch that L. oh, Rashida, it's your shoe. It's just that you can be like, bitches, fuck y'all. I just put out a brand. I don't know. I don't know what they doing in China.
I mean, but honestly, like, and you gotta realize, because if you look at a lot of corporations, they have social responsibility programs, and they have those programs for a reason. Because once you begin to become a monopoly like that and making so much money from items like that, they expect for you to be responsible for the community.
No, that's true. But the reality is, your name is behind it, but you no longer control your name because you can't. Right. If now, if Rashida puts out a special bra over there in China, ain't no way in hell you gonna control the sales on that. You don't know if that bra is fucking people up or making it don't work. What you do, you pay good money. As soon as you hear something negative, watch it. You pay good money and put people in position to represent your brand to make sure your product is doing what it originally.
I got a comment from Michelle Burston. She says Michael Jordan has never been for his people. He has even said his shoes are for the upper and middle class white people. So it doesn't surprise me that he invests in private prisons. Until Michael Jordan just started giving back to his people only because LeBron and a few others started sending kids to college. Hold on.
Can we get facts? That's fact. I need facts.
I'm just saying this is the fact that I do know. I didn't see him say anything until really last year. Now I never heard anything about the colleges and stuff like that, and I haven't followed that recently. But I haven't seen him doing anything for anybody. Was he spending money before LeBron?
No. Yes, watch this. Watch this. The 5-started people that he run rings with on the Chicago Bulls, they do a lot. Even BJ Armstrong and Steve Curtis, now the coach of the Warriors.
It's not recognized like on the.
Well, you know what? I guess when you support something like a prison, where most of your people are getting locked up, you lose a lot of fans. So I guess little small things that you do. How much money does he make from that prison that he's running?
Not really. He makes what? No. He makes more money off his shoes because think about it. If it costs 25 cents to make each shoe, that's 50 cents per pair, and he producing all these shoes, mind you. This company's running his business. Remember when they came out with the
I got to get up off of Michael Jordan. Yes.
I know you're getting angry, girl.
No, that's okay.
Michael Jordan is just really not. I'm not going to support anybody who is against my people. Flat out. I don't care about a business opportunity. I do because he's building prisons. And prisons are built off of what you can read on a third grade level. I have a problem with that. I can't support him. I can't buy his shoes. I can't do it.
Let me ask this, Miss Rashida. He made Jordans, they like what between $90 and like $200 a piece, right?
What?
So no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out.
More like $300 to $400.
Okay. So watch this. Hold on. So watch this. So watch this.
For children.
No, watch this.
$90.
Let me finish. Let me finish. He made those expensive shoes for people with the money to buy them, correct? Because only motherfuckers, rather dope boys or whatever, to buy them, right? Or white people, whatever. Let's just say we're not talking about race now. When 10 years ago, when they said that he was just targeting the black community and doing all that stuff with Jordans, he came out with a cheaper Jordan called Jumpman. That was between $15 and $25, and he still made a bunch of money through that. So when they say that he's not giving back to the community, he already had a brand that was making money. So now he made another brand for the urban community to buy. So do you cut him to the side because he made another shoe?
To the side because he built a prison. I don't care about anything else he tries to do. When we look at I don't care who he is.
Okay, but where's the statistics on that? Okay, no, watch this.
I want our black people locked up.
No, where's the statistics?
We might as well.
It's his. No, watch this. Now, this is research. I don't know if you can look it up over there. The research is the prisons that he's built. How is the numbers between the prison that he invested in and the prison that's been around? Now, where are those numbers at then? Because if he's a bad guy,
what's up with the prisons that?
I'm just saying, are they better or worse? I don't know. I never looked it up because I have no. But that's what I'm saying. They talk about the prison that he had built or invested in, whatever it is. Is this prison better or is this prison worse? Now, if somebody say Jordan built a prison and 15 people that got killed since he's been in business, okay, I feel you. Like he don't give a fuck.
The private prisons, it's not like anybody really hears any of their complaints. I mean, they write a slip up, and we already know from many of loved ones. I'm sorry, because I know you got people in there who tell you all the time how they're mistreated.
Yeah, no.
But how you know what prisons he got?
What you mean? It's public information.
Where his prisons at?
Look it up online. I don't.
You don't know. See, that's
no. I don't know where prison's at, but trust and believe. If I had anybody that's in prison, they'd be like, "Nigga, we in Jordan's prison." You know how many niggas wear the shoes in
they
Jordan?
probably don't even know whose prison it is.
Why not? It's in public information.
Yeah, but I doubt if they went to go look up to see who owns it or if it's private or not.
How many prison pictures have you gotten where motherfuckers got some fresh J's on? You be like, "Nigga, what you posing for?" Like, nigga, what is you doing? It's public information.
That's what they in there and hit somebody for them damn shoes. That shit's crazy.
Hey, regardless, they wearing them bitches, right? They fresh too in the pictures.
But moving along, so I want you to play that skit that we played from last week with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton for the Super Predators. I want our audience to hear that again.
Right now?
Yeah, I want them to hear that.
You could run into a kid waiting to relieve you of your purse or wallet.
Every media outlet in the country thinks I'm less than human. I began to hear the word super predator as if that was my name.
Super predator, super predators. That's the word they use to describe this generation, and it was very, very effective.
Experts call them super predators.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy.
Group of kids who are growing up essentially fatherless, godless, and jobless.
For me, what's more disturbing is the degree to which Black people bought into that. Animals, beasts that needed to be controlled.
When those grandmothers say, but he's a good boy. He never did anything. Don't you believe it?
Many Black communities began to actually support policies that criminalize their own children.
Last night, the 18s accused of the attack were arraigned on charges of rape and attempted murder.
In the Central Park jogger case, they put 5 innocent teens in prison because the public pressure to lock up these quote-unquote animals was so strong.
You better believe that I hate the people that took this girl and raped her brutally. You better believe it.
Donald Trump wanted to give these kids a death penalty, and he took out a full-page ad to put the pressure on. These children, 4 of them under 18, all went to adult prisons for 6 to 11 years before DNA evidence proved they were all innocent.
We make them their crime. That's how we introduce them.
Welcome back to the Divas Corner Talk Show. So what you heard right there was a portion of the 13th documentary with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton speaking about the youth as super predators. At one point in time, Donald Trump even had took out a full-page ad on 4 alleged Black boys who were supposedly raped some white girl, and they did 6 to 11 years in prison, and come to find out they were actually innocent. So he was asking at the time that they were given the death penalty. And of course that didn't happen. Thank God for DNA. When you think about it, it kind of saved those little boys' lives. I mean, your children will be called super predators. And that's a huge issue to me, because when you have laws built on 9-year-old children for prisons, unfortunately, I can't support someone like Michael Jordan. I understand it's a business, and may he, be prosperous in his business. I wish you well. But as far as your soul, I hope you can deal with that and face the Father, because you have a social responsibility and you have a spiritual responsibility. So when you bring the both into play, you ain't nothing but the devil to me. And so that's how I feel about that. But we're going to go ahead and close the topic on that, because we're going to be moving on to mental illness. I did want to touch bases on some new federal levels that took place in 2014. The U.S. Sentencing Commission unanimously voted to reduce the excessive sentences for up to 46,000 people. So they always talk about what Obama didn't do. Obama set 46,000 people free, currently serving time for Fed drug offenses. Out of 37% of African Americans in jail, they're in there for drug crimes, 68% for violent crimes. As you see, the violent crimes, that's on our behalf, something we definitely need to work on. I did a story last night on a man who was killed over here off of Kelton and Crossup Avenue. RIP to Gerald Tolley. He was killed, I believe he was in his 60s. He was in his own backyard, and he was murdered. 2 young Black men in hoodies went running through the neighborhood. One was armed. So if you know anything about that, please contact the Columbus Police Department. We also had a shooting on the north side. And I know a lot of people have this, I don't see anything, no snitching or whatever you think that you're doing for your community. You're hurting your people because when you go down into those jails and you disappear, you're out of sight and you're out of mind. So no matter what you want to think about prison, it's a reality for the black man. 1 in 3 black men will go to prison within their lifetime. That's a very serious number when 1 out of 3 will be in prison. So I got some numbers for you before we close up on that topic. 1 out of 9 black men will be in prison between the ages of 20 to 34 years old. Black men 30 to 34 have the highest crime rate of any race, gender, and age combined, according to the American Community Survey. Lifetime chances of going to prison are 32.2% for blacks, 17.2% for Latinos, and only 5.9% for whites. And that's on lifetime sentences, lifetime chances. So you're looking at a huge difference. I mean, when you look at that, like I said, it breaks down to 6 times as much, and we're only 12 to 2% of the population. I also wanted to state before we close up that the incarceration has been declared from the National Research Council ineffective at reducing certain types of crimes. And those certain types of crimes that we're specifically talking about are youth crimes. Most of them are committed in groups, and drug crimes, because as soon as they lock up Pookie on the block, they're just replaced by a new dealer seeking income or struggling with addiction themselves. Other than that, they just end up aging out. So in between the 30 and 40 year mark, men just start aging out of committing crimes. So we got to really get a handle on this. If you know someone who's been locked up in prison, things going on, try to get them linked up with some resources. Get them with legal aid. See if an attorney can take an extra look at their case, because I know it's hard out there and they don't have a voice inside of there. You know, if someone doesn't accept that call on the other end, they just don't have someone to be a voice for them. So don't forget about your people who are locked up in prison. And with that being said, we're going to move on. This part of the show, Diva Angel, this was her selection. She wanted to go and talk about the mental health issue. So I've got some backup documentation, but I'm going to hand this part off to her when we're dealing with mental health.
I just have one thing to say, because you say look it up. I just looked it up. And it is talking about how Michael Jordan was a myth. And it talks about a myth debunked, that his name was mentioned as one of the top people in a privatized prison or whatever out in Oregon, but it was actually someone that was making a play on words because the man's name was Michael Jordan, and it was not Michael Jordan, the basketball player. I'm reading it.
So what's drop that link on them for us, because I was like, did you hear that? But I did say that it was something that I heard. I didn't say it was something that was a fact. And I'll tell you, I can't support any person, black, white, blue, Hispanic, if you're supporting prisons for 9-year-old children.
Well, let me start from the beginning, because
I don't.
It says, meet Michael Jordan, the prison investor. It's a must read. And what it's talking about is that Michael Jordan's name was mentioned. It says, my people below it, and this is from Urban Intellectuals. It's just one of the articles that they put out. It says, my people below is the Michael Jordan, who was a prison director in Oregon, whose name appeared on prison and court documents that started the urban myth that the basketball player Michael Jordan invested in privatized prisons.
Wow.
Even though I don't condone standing in line for his shoes, please, people, let's stop making shit up.
You gotta send me that link.
Hold on. I can't just believe that sexy ass man is just.
I was over. Like, no, I'm never buying a Jordan.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
But the question still is, though, I mean, with him making the shoes, he's made a lot of money. What if he did invest into a private prison? It's like Reagan was saying, that's just another business move.
If he did.
And hold on. Let me finish this, because, see, I don't agree. I don't have nothing to do with Donald Trump and the way that this country is being ran. And I hear stuff from both sides. I don't do politics. But if you think about the things that he is doing, he's doing it like a business. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's what he do. So as a business person, If you don't like the business practices that he does, that's what you're supposed to go against is the business practices. Because that's how Donald Trump is raising the United States. Because that's what it feels like. My words is really coming up.
Rick Ross said something that made me respect him. Rick Ross said, I'm not mad at the country. I'm not mad at the president. He said, Trump is going to fuck the world up. But guess what? Sometimes you have to tear something down for it to come back better. Yep. And the shit's been fucked. Remember before Trump, there was they talking about global warming, the world coming to an end, all this shit. And then
they
Trump
still talking about global warming and the world coming to an end. Trump don't even believe it.
No. They talk about it, but what gets the attention? So when Rick Ross said it, and I give him his perfect, he said sometimes you got to tear this bitch down and rebuild it. I said, you know what?
That man ain't about to tear nothing down and rebuild.
No, not tear down.
Not tear down. It up like it's a whole
he's going to create a reset button because he's fucking up. Now, I'm not saying who's going to suffer, who's not going to suffer, but he's fucking it up to where what if his reset button actually works because the world hasn't been reset.
Then you actually a damn.
I'm just saying.
Lord Jesus, I almost sinned. I almost called this man the F word, and it wasn't about screwing. Right, but look, I almost called him the FOOL.
In every war that there has been in the history of time, when you have a winner and a loser, and the loser gets torn down, when it gets built back up, it becomes better than what it was before.
Strong.
But they couldn't be better until they learned of everything that they had to lose. So, like my daughter said,
we ain't gonna get nowhere when we sit here and we first of all,
we was never meant to win.
The problem is you take in the problem is no, we are meant to win. We set ourselves up for failure. But that's a whole other
in the position to wipe us out. How are we meant to win? If the world had
well, maybe if you get down on them 2 hands and knees and quit acting like you God yourself. And give God His glory, we can be forgiven, and none of these conversations would be relevant at all because we would be together as a people.
Look, that's being done as like by the second. But when that motherfucker was about to start World War III, how much prayer really is it going to need for something to take effective? Because people, my mom and the whole church and the whole everybody's praying that Trump don't fuck this shit up. But goddamn it, when the shit that he's done, man, listen, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't look too much to it. I don't feel too much to it.
I'm telling you, I
but
do.
The reality is,
have a voice to speak on it.
When you get when you get a fucking email saying that motherfucker dropped the biggest bomb in 40 years, it's like, holy shit. Who let him do that? Nigga, I believe in God and everything, but a prayer didn't stop that motherfucker from doing that dumb
What are you
shit.
talking about? That's the whole principle. Now you're reaching into something that
I'm just talking about.
I'm gonna tell you right now. That's gonna go into. Hold on.
Getting on your knees and all that. I'm just saying it ain't stopping. The reality is, if a motherfucker drop a bomb right now in Columbus, Ohio.
But that's the problem. You looking for the wrong thing.
No, I'm speaking on what happened.
You wasting your time with the wrong thing.
No, I'm just speaking on what happened. But you're speaking on what happened.
What
so
happened is what's supposed to happen.
I'm not talking about like fabrication. I'm talking about what just happened, and nobody even and the people in position of power didn't prevent it.
Listen to what I'm telling you.
Okay, I'm done.
Just shut up and listen, okay?
I'm shut up.
Because you talk, and you have some good energy.
No.
And you have some good questions. You do. But I want to say this: the problem is you keep looking at things without an eye for God in them. You keep talking about like hold on, and I'm gonna even go there with what Angel was saying when she talked about Michael Jordan as a businessman. Yes, he's a good businessman. That doesn't make him a good man. I don't give a damn. Even when it comes down to hold on. Listen,
I didn't say that either.
But a lot of people might take it that way because you're presenting business over social responsibility, over ethics, over morals, over values. And that's the problem we have today because the rich is staying rich and the poor is staying poor. That man don't have no values if he's doing stuff like that, and that's not even just it. Let me say something real quick. I'm glad you had something, and I'll check into that later as far as that goes. But that still don't change the fact that kids are out here killing each other over the $300 pair of shoes, and this man don't say nothing at all, and his name is on there like you said. So to me, you still can't tell me jack crap. I'm trying to respect some of the Christian people I know who are watching this show. I don't care because that man is evil. You are against your own people, whether it's Christian people, whether it's godly people, whether it's black people. You not for nothing good, you for everything of this world. And when you conform to everything in this world, that's what you get. See, I came to bring the truth. I came to be who I need to be for God to use me, not to sit here and talk about the basics of what you think, the politics of it, because we are broken far more down than that. And that's the problem. Everybody looking at the top surface and they're not willing to peel off the layers. Let's get ready to treat this like an onion. See, baby, when you take an onion, first you got the shavings that they got to come off of it. Shake it all off. Get the dust off of it before we can even unpeel what's really going on. It's going to take some time to enlighten it. And I'm not caring about anybody else's religious or so-called spiritual views. God is number one in my life, and he always will be. I'm not going to say I believe in God, but when you come to talk about certain things like dropping the bomb, those things are all written. You want to know where it's at, and you want to predict anything that's going on, then go ahead and take your cell phone to the Bible, because I promise you the chapter of Isaiah, the book of Daniel, Corinthians, and there's many, many more. John. I can go on and on about where there is places where all these were spoken about. Matthew. Get your read on, get your study on, and quit saying and claiming that you believe in God when you don't. Your actions don't consist of that. I'm not going to put nothing over that. So when I reflect on anything, whether it's political or not, I have to embed my spiritual views in that. It has to be done, because or else then my morals and values are all over the place. And there's certain things that with me being spiritual and my belief in God that I cannot approve nor condone, and I will not. And that is one of those things. That man supports a lot of death. He doesn't speak up, and he has a social responsibility. When God gives you a platform, you need to use it, or else you're wasting time, and you're going to pay for them idle words. That's all I'm saying. Now, Mrs. Angel, you want to go ahead and move along as we come into the mental health and depression and the phase of teen suicides that we've been dealing with, especially the rise that we have going on that. So when you look at all that going on, first I want to break down, before she gets into it, what mental illness is defined as. It's any psychiatric disorder that causes untypical behavior. Depression is an illness characterized by persistent sadness and a loss of interest in activities that you normally enjoy, accompanied by an inability to carry out daily activities for at least 2 weeks. So those are the definitions of mental illness and depression. I have a list of a variety of different mental illnesses, but I'm going to let Angel hand it over, because she's got some things that I don't have my hands on.
Hello everyone. How you doing today? We want to calm it down a little bit. Well, I chose this subject because of things that are going on in my personal life at the moment, and that was teen suicide. And when you talk about, well, let's not use teen, but let's use the word youth suicide. Youth suicide is when a young person, generally categorized as being below the age of 21, purposely ends their life. And that was taken from Newsweek. And it was a heavy topic on my mind. I have a son that has dealt with a lot of different peer pressures in his life, and he also suffers from depression. I do have him on the phone. I talked him into talking a little bit about his experience with depression. Rayvon?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hi, Rayvon.
Hey.
How you doing, baby?
I would like to say that it's really hard coping with depression, because I decided to kill myself before, and I am trying to get better. I have attempted before, but now that I'm in a mental facility, I'm really working on trying to better my life so that I can live and cope with my depression, because I suffer from a lot, especially because, with family being separated, I really have a hard to cope with it. And depression isn't really easy. That's why I use coping skills every day, like my biggest focus on you is to pray. And
Hallelujah.
I pray every single day, and I pray every single night. And I tell God to watch me as I sleep. And when I eat, to God, watch me when I eat. So then the Lord Jesus Christ and my Savior can help me get through the day.
And that's what you got to keep relying on. You got to put your trust in God. And you know, a lot of people don't want to come forth and they don't want to say anything. I mean, I have some situations that I dealt with dealing with depression and people who are close to me. I'm not going to speak on it because I haven't gotten to talk to them. You know, there are recent situations that I endured too with people that I love. And it's hard to see someone, you know, when they take that step forward to want to take their life, you know what I mean? And no one takes them seriously. I mean, there was a person who was like, you're not going to do it. And
Right, well,
all I could think about was,
I wanted to ask you, was there any one person that you thought to reach out to that when you told them that you wanted to kill yourself, that they even reached out to say, no, don't do that, or even stop to even help you understand that there was something else?
Really, I don't really have anybody in here that I go to except for staff. But outside, the only person I really go to is you. And I go to, you know, my friend Thomas because y'all are the only people that really help me.
So I love you, baby. And I thank you for talking with our.
We want you to get
today.
better.
So get better, and I'll come see you tomorrow.
I love you, boo. I miss you. You got to get out of there. But I know you got to take time to get better. If you don't take time to get better, you ain't going to be good for nobody. Okay, baby?
Alrighty, that was my son. My son just turned 18 years old. And like you said, it's very hard dealing with depression. I can't say that I'm guilty myself. Always, you know, taking it lightly when he would talk about hurting himself or, well, I just want to die. And sometimes as parents, we take the things that our children say as a joke because, oh, they know better. But going through this whole situation within the past 6-7 weeks, my son has tried to commit suicide 5 times.
That's
it's
a lot.
Not a comforting thought sitting there and watching your child basically become non-responsive and there's nothing that you can do to change it or nothing you can do to help. And that's a lot of things. That's a lot what parents are going through, especially with social media today where kids are publicizing their suicides. And we all say, oh, it's a cry for help. Oh, they're just reaching out for help. But the thing is,
they are reaching out for help.
Who is there? Well, right here we have, I did a lot of research on, you know, the issue. And I was reading the Newsweek and they was talking about teen suicide is contagious. Wow. And what they mean by contagious is that when one teen sees another teen commit suicide, then they think about it, it spreads. You know, you think of like a cold is contagious, but it may not even be a person that they were close to, or it might not even been a person that they even went to school with. They did a research study on Rampart High School in Colorado Springs, where they're having a bunch of instances called cluster deaths, where their deaths are inspired by one teen choosing to end their life by suicide, and then it travels to another person, and then it travels to another teen. Rampart High School lost 5 youth in one school year due to teen suicide, just because it was almost like a suicide pact that they called it. And it's even to the point where teens are scheduling their deaths. They're letting it be known on Facebook that on Friday the 13th, I plan to kill myself. And everyone thinks that it's a joke and no one pays attention to it. And they're like, oh, they're just joking around. They're just trying to get likes, or they're just trying to get statuses. Everything's not about a like and everything is not about a status, because suicide is saying that it spreads by direct or indirect of knowing the suicide victim.
if you have anyone who is experiencing suicide, I feel like you honestly should take that serious. I mean, like, who just walks around parading for that attention? I mean, in a situation that I had recently happen, the person just was like, "Oh, he's not going to do it." And the first thought that came to my mind is that mother who told her daughter, "Oh, you're not going to do it," just last month, and here she's dead. Or the little girl who killed herself because she was pregnant, and then like you said, it spread, and the kid's dad, he was told he couldn't go to the funeral, and then in response he killed himself. So
Right.
that happened right here in Cleveland. That's right here in Ohio. When it touches down that close, and then here we are, and we're trying to do what we can do to bring the news to everyone, and here you got your own situations to deal with. I mean, I was freaking out when that happened. I just didn't know what to do at first.
You don't know what to do. Like I said, no one. I try not to let things affect me because
I was angry.
It's such a battle. And during this situation, I got angry. Like, how dare he do this to me? Not even thinking about it. He's not just doing it to me. He's doing it to himself, and he's doing it because he is crying out for help.
So when someone is crying out, first of all, don't push anyone over the ledge. That is completely wrong. You don't know if this is going to be the time that it's going to be just too much for that person or not. You need to respect when someone is reaching out. Reaching out is not being weak. Telling someone that you need help is not being weak, and we got a real big problem with that in our culture. I mean, seriously, it goes around on a lot of cultures, but when it comes to depression, it's just like you're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to speak about it. That's being weak. You're not being a man, or you're not being a woman. If you do, you're bitter, or you're broken, or you're messed up, and all these things. When, yeah, you are broken, maybe not bitter, hurting, disappointed. But the thing is
that brings me to a statement that I read, and it was by the state representative Marlene Anowski, and I pray that I hope I pronounced her name correct. Her son took his life in 2010, and she replied that in society, it's okay to have a broken arm, it's okay to have cancer, but it's not okay to have mental illness.
Right.
It's something that everybody shuns away from, and it's like, oh, you have mental health issues. Oh, you're mental. Oh, it's like the plague, and just like the plague is taking over, so is suicide. I'm reading Torrey Pines. There was a 15-year-old teen that was killed by police officers with the title red, and so I read into it because it just seemed, I don't know what made me draw to this article, but upon reading the article, this 15-year-old boy called 911 and said someone should check on the teen that is at the school that looks suspicious. The teen called the police himself. He had a toy gun in his waistband. He pulled the gun out. It was a BB gun. He pulled it out, and the police shot and killed him.
Who was
Upon
this?
searching his body, they found a suicide note. He planned the whole thing, and it's called death by police.
Wow.
And this is something that is growing too.
Do you think a lot of people who are in the Black community, I mean, do you think that they really actually choose death to be shot by a police officer versus to actually go to jail, and that's why we have an increase in some of these shootings with the police?
It may be, and then too at the same time, upon reading this article and doing a little bit more research, when you choose to die and you don't have the strength to kill yourself, is one of those instances where you choose to die by the hand of somebody else, and they don't know that they're making your wish come true. And that's what this young person, he was only 15 years old, and everybody described him, he was a straight A student, he was quiet, well liked, could nobody understand why he was killed by the police. And then they found out about the suicide note, and they couldn't understand what he had, any reason, to want to commit suicide. But no one paid attention to the cries that he had already cried out to the staff, to the school administrators and everyone else, when he always kept saying, I just really needed someone to talk to. And no one, gave him an ear to talk to. There was also on Facebook was a 12-year-old who she was physically and sexually abused, and she committed suicide by hanging herself and did this live on Facebook. 12 years old. I mean, what is a 12-year-old? And I know about other 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds who go that route because of something that they have experienced so rough in their life. Also in Miami, there was a 14-year-old. She was in foster care, and she was on Facebook, and she publicized that she was going to kill herself. She could not go through what she was going through, going from foster home to foster home.
That
And
was
she
hard
was,
for me. I know when I was a little girl, I would cry myself to sleep at night. And I don't tell people this very often, but I grew up in foster homes and stuff like that as well. And I would cry myself to sleep and I would say to myself, no one loves me. That was what I would cry. I remember when you just said that, it just spoke to me. And I don't know why I revealed that
that
because
was
I
her
don't normally
words. She
reveal
felt like
that.
nobody
But I would
loved her.
lay in my bed and I would cry. And some days I would even sleep under the bunk beds because I didn't even want anyone to see me. And I would lay under the bunk bed in my foster home and I would cry and I would say, nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. And I grew up feeling that way. I mean, it's still, very hard. I know there are people who love me and, my children, they love me very much, but I can't say that I've not been one to battle with depression, especially a mother of 11. I mean, it's a hard job and I don't have a lot of people to talk to. So I try to rely on things like agencies, but then you have that stigma that comes with being classified as that. And then next thing you know, every time you go to the doctors, it's all, they want to, hey, do you want to kill yourself? Hey, like, hold on a second.
It's true.
Look, anything that I've gone through, there's, actually been a result. It's been a cause and reaction situation. So it's not like I just all of a sudden just, hey, everything should be fine and I'm feeling sad. Like, no, shit was fucked up. Excuse my language. It was a mess. You know what I mean?
And sometimes that's how it is in foster care. But this little girl, she was a wonderful student in school. She was quiet. People knew that she had things going on because she was in foster care. But she chose to kill herself on Facebook. A friend called the police, called 911, and said that somebody needed to get to her. And when they went to go to try and find this little girl to try and save her life, they were given an address from the social service agency that said she was at one address and she wasn't at that address. So they got another address from somebody else who it was just a friend at school, and they went to that address and it was the wrong address. But luckily they gave the address to where the little girl really was. The only sad part about that is they got there, but she was already dead. She had hung herself in the bathroom live on Facebook while her foster parents slept in the very next room next to the bathroom.
Well, I can tell you that every 40 seconds, someone somewhere in the world dies by suicide. That's less than a minute time. Right. I mean, how many minutes do we have in a day? When you think of every 40 seconds, someone dying by suicide, someone choosing to take their own life, those are serious numbers right there.
Well, I didn't concentrate on everywhere. I concentrated on Ohio, and it says suicide is the top cause of death in Ohio. Oh, and the victims are likely ignored, and they don't have no one to talk to. And when you think about it, think about that Cleveland Facebook shooter.
Oh my God. He was probably, I was saying that earlier today. Tamara, wasn't I saying that to you earlier today about the Facebook shooter? Because I was thinking about the shooting that I covered last night with the man who was like in his 60s.
It was said that he had been asking for someone. I just need somebody to talk to. I just need somebody to talk to. And nobody was listening.
And he was
so what did he do?
Counselor.
He went out and shot somebody to get the attention.
He was a counselor in need of counseling.
Right. And
God
a lot
bless
of times,
his soul.
a lot of people
R.I.P.
in those positions need the counseling because they listen to everybody
else's
problems.
Not to mention how harsh social media was. Kill yourself. I hope he does it live. Like, I was upset about what I saw too. But I knew when I had heard that he was a social worker and he worked with children, that this was not normal for someone to just have that kind of mental break like that. And I felt a sense of empathy for him. And so before he even killed himself, I had prayed for him.
Right.
I think I had talked to you about it, that I was like, I'm going to pray for him because everyone was just so really cruel and mean. So
before learning about the whole story of the Facebook shooter, I was like, oh, somebody get him. Oh, he needs to go to jail, this and the other. But it was after the fact of after the whole story came out, it was like, you know what, that could have been anybody. It could have been anybody because it says that one person every 7 hours in Ohio commits suicide. They are ignored by lawmakers. They are ignored by medical professionals, and they are ignored by much of the public. And here this man was reaching out to the public, like, look at me, listen to me, somebody help me. And that's what he was saying. And Newsweek called it the forgotten people, because these people are the ones that are ignored because people think, oh, they're not going to do it. Like you said, you had that experience of.
I was furious when that was the response. I just felt like, why would you even egg someone on? Like, no way would I ever be like, oh, you're not going to do it. You know, oh, you're not going to jump. Oh, you're not going to shoot yourself. Like, I would never want to be the one, because to me, it's a cry for help. And that might be that one time where it's like, oh, you don't think I'm going to do it?
Right.
I'm going to do it. And I'm going to show you I'm going to do it. And guess what? You'll be the one who has to live with it. You'll be the one who has to live with the guilt because I'm dead.
Right. Well, you know, a lot of times we teach our children to call 911 for help. And this is the best instance to call for help, is if you know someone that is thinking about suicide, or as in these Facebook streaming live instances, call 911. Or if you locally here in Ohio, you can call 614-221-5445. Again, that local number is 614-221-5445. There's also a national number, which is 1-800-SUICIDE. They have a text line. They have a talk line. They also have a teen suicide line, and it's 614-294-3300. That number again for teen suicide is 614-294-3300. There are plenty of our youth that are out here. And it says that there was a 9-month investigation reports from the coroner's office from different counties in Ohio. It was 15 years worth of records they examined, and it found that 80% were males that had committed suicide. The middle age men was 44, from the age of 45 to 64, accounted for 25%. That other percentage was young people, with the youngest victim being 8 years old. Can you imagine being 8 years old and killing yourself?
I don't even want to imagine an 8-year-old being.
An 8-year-old.
I mean, you know, and a lot of times as parents, it's like when kids try to tell you how they feel, you often just put their feelings to the side. Oh, you don't have real problems. You're just a kid. They have real problems, and their problems feel real to them. You cannot do that to people. They are human beings, whether you want to realize it or not. They have their own tiny personalities, and they want to speak out. You need to give them a voice, because if you don't do it, they're going to lose themselves, and you may lose your child.
Right.
So you really need to be able to give people a voice. Now, dealing with certain different type of disabilities and mental illnesses, do you have a list of some of those? Because if you don't, I do.
Why don't you go ahead and read off some of your list?
I can tell you some of the things that we're dealing with, or like anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar mood disorder, personality disorders, trauma, eating disorders. So there's a lot of disorders. I personally suffer from an anxiety disorder. I have OCD. And a lot of times when people hear about OCD, it's like, oh, you like to clean up stuff. And it's like, no, you have no freaking idea what OCD is. And it's kind of disrespectful to think that I'm just like running around. I do clean. Don't get it wrong. I mean, I do have cleaning OCD, and I get mad when things are out of place. But it's beyond that. I mean, we're talking about unwanted images in your mind, whether they be sexual or physical. I mean, I might be riding down the street and be thinking about dragging somebody up the street with my car. I don't want to have those thoughts going in my brain, but those thoughts exist. And so I had to go to the doctor, and they prescribed me some sertraline. And you're, like I said, you can just be in the middle of it. It comes like it's a daydream. But the whole principle is it's not a daydream I'm wanting to have. I don't want to think about doing things like that to other people. I don't want to hurt anyone at all. And if you listen to me and you see me, you would know that that's my personality. But OCD can become imparable when it's severe. You have different types of OCD, just like you have different types of disorders. You know what I mean? You have severe schizophrenic, you have severe bipolar, you have severe mood disorders, severe psychotic disorders, and you have to take these things seriously. I get frustrated when someone tells me, like, it's not that serious, or like my feelings don't matter. Like, you might not understand it, but to me, that can destroy like everything that I'm dealing with. Some of the things that they were saying with anxiety, rapid heartbeats. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and anxiety hits me, and it's like boom, 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 boom. And now I'm nervous and I'm sweaty. I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving around. I'm not conducting myself in any manner. It's just I've gone lost into my thought process and it becomes frustrating. So I'm working with some new medicine that the doctor gave me. It's called Sertraline, and I'm hoping that it's going to do well. He says if it doesn't do what I need it to do, then he'll come back and he'll increase the dose. But how many times do we deal with people who are misdiagnosed too? And I had wanted to cover some of those things too.
My son was misdiagnosed for years. He's had, from the time that I first started, first of all, from almost birth, I told my pediatrician, I said, there's something different about this baby. I said, it's just something different. I said, it's like he's not like a normal baby. And over the years, there was things that he did that was kind of borderline like, oh my God, why did he do that? Where he was 2 years old and then took a fork and stabbed his brother's hand to the table. So
there got to be something in his mind, a mental chemical imbalance or something.
It's traumas. Whereas when a woman has a baby, you think about the trauma that a woman goes through, think about the trauma that child goes through just being born. Some people don't get past that trauma of just being born through the birth canal, or if that mother had to have a C-section, being born and being.
You know what? That just made me really think about. I'm sorry, it's really crazy and it's very random, but it made me think about when people say that they were born homosexual or different things like that. If you can be born with mental illnesses, it just makes you wonder: could you possibly?
Well, they say homosexuality is a type of mental illness. So
it was. Hold on, it was. But in 2014, that changed. I have the information on that. I did my research on that. They did take that off. It used to be considered a gender identity order. So many people who are transgender are diagnosed with a disorder called gender identity disorder. The following information came from WebMD. So that's what they called it. So before the LGBT movement really came on, to be one, to be a man, to be a woman, it was actually considered to be a disorder. But they said they removed the guidelines. And let me see if I can find
that only came due to them making same-sex marriages legal. Because even in my research, it says that the moment that the same-sex marriage became legal, they saw a decline in suicide, especially in teen suicide, where they would see that a young person that had that gender identity factor going on would commit suicide because they were afraid to come out the closet. But now, since society has been accepting, okay, we can have same-sex marriages, they say that there's been a decline in it. But also,
they feel like they can finally be themselves without having to feel like that they're
pressure and everything
weird or strange or something like that.
Right. Well, since 2000, there's been more than 20,000 people, and this is just in Ohio. 20,000 people have died from suicide, and that is triple the homicide victims just here in Ohio.
So you're saying people are killing themselves more than murder?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. Ohio. I know in the United States, we got 25% of adults in the U.S. who suffer from some type of psychiatric condition at any time, with the most common conditions being depression and anxiety. And I just spoke to you about a little bit of my anxiety. I have OCD. Tamara, do you have anything to add in on this topic at all? It's your first time. She's like, I'm a little nervous, but I'm getting her warmed up. Don't you worry, guys. Tamara, she guides me through so much. She gives me so much advice, and she has some great things to say. She just gets really shy sometimes. When you look at 25% of adults in the U.S. suffering from some type of psychiatric condition, those numbers are obviously suppressed. I mean, there's a lot of underreporting. As far as it goes for Black mental health statistics,
not even determined, because when you think about suicide, the way that they can say that it was a suicide is if someone knew that this person had planned suicide, if they found a suicide note, if a person had a lot of things going on in their life, and they can say that it was mostly determined by suicide. So the numbers they have are only in the instance where they can determine that there was a predecessor to saying that it was labeled a suicide. The suicide rate in Ohio, it has dropped. And like I said, that was due to same-sex marriages becoming legal. Last year, it was still at a 10.8 deaths per 100,000. And this means that there was more than 3 Ohioans die every day from suicide alone. The national data says that 41,000 people died by suicide, partly in the U.S., and the rate at 13 people per 100,000 people. And that's the national data.
The national?
Yes. The Ohio data says that, still there's 3 people every single day that die of suicide just in Ohio.
And then, like we said, in the whole country, you're looking at 40 every 40 seconds. I did want to go and note on some Black mental health statistics that unfortunately adult Black African Americans are 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress than other adult whites. There are also adult Blacks and African Americans living below poverty are 3 times more likely to report serious psychological distress than those living above poverty. So poverty is an issue for depression. Basically not being able to feed yourself, not being able to feed your family, feeling like it's just too much weight on your shoulders, your job, you're working it.
If your family's displaced.
Can we please get minimum wage at $15 an hour? Jesus Christ, that will help some of us breathe a little.
Right.
And then
here in Ohio, it says that overall, out of all the people that are committing suicide, males are more likely to die from suicide than females in Ohio. And this subject touched, like I said, it really.
Hold on. What did you say? Because in the United States overall, women, and I have the numbers for that.
No,
women,
in Ohio from 2000.
So it's the men in Ohio who want to kill themselves.
In Ohio, from the year 2000 to 2010, it said suicide increased by 27% from 9.5 per 100,000 to 12.1 per 100,000. But overall, in Ohio, males are more likely to die from suicide than females in Ohio.
Well, do you think that part of the cause is because they lack being treated?
Yes, because it says that the vast majority of the people could have been treated for mental illnesses, but most often it's depression, and they don't get treated, they don't get help simply because of the stigma that if you have some kind of mental health illness, that there's really something wrong with you, and a lot of people tend to shy away from you.
So that's really crazy. So you just think people are like, and you know what, that reminds me of somebody. Oh my God, I'm such a jerk. Because I felt like they were just a little bit depressed, and I felt like they were kind of like bragging, like bringing me down, and I just didn't really want to have to deal with that. So I was like, hey, you kind of got a lot of things going on, and we should just be, cool. We need to take distance, because I just didn't want that depressive spirit around me. And I probably should have been a little bit more understanding, especially going after your topic. I think I did learn some things. So I wanted to go over some things before we close on things that you can do. So I think, first of all, you should discuss your feelings with people that are close to you. Ask them for support. Someone who's really close to you that you can confide in, because clearly some people don't take it serious. Stay connected with your family. Don't exclude yourself and just go off to the side and, close your house and don't want to invite anybody in. Try to communicate and spend time with your family and friends. Get out in the open air. Go to the park. Take a walk. Walk with your baby if you have a baby and you're dealing with postpartum or things like that.
But there's a lot of times when it's talking about males here in Ohio, or even young people, like I said, this subject touched so hard to me because my son just turned 18. And with turning 18, part of the therapy that we're now going through, he talks about he was just been so scared. And I'm like, scared for what? I mean, you're turning 18. But
scared of being on his own, probably. Scared of the responsibility.
Scared of being on his own, responsibility. Not only that, we put so much pressure on our Black young men.
I'm not going to say we put so much pressure on them, but I mean, society does put a lot of pressure on them. I think Black women are raising bitch ass niggas like the game is so, not to be told, said. I think we got some issues to deal with our children.
All the time, come on, you got to be a man. You got to be a man. And a lot of times that we keep telling our men, you got to be a man, you got to be a man, only adds to the problem that they are suffering.
All right, with that being said, we got about 4 minutes left on the show, so we're getting ready to close up. I hope you guys will join us next week on the Divas Corner Talk Show. I'm going to post some information on the Divas Corner Talk Show webpage. You can go to www.facebook.com/the Divas Corner Show. That's www.facebook.com/the Divas Corner Show. There'll be some resources on there. I have a special group called the Teens Click, sponsored by the Divas Corner. So if you like, you can join into that group. Go ahead and request it. It's called the Teens Click, sponsored by the Divas Corner. It's just an open environment for you to come in and blog and talk, express your feelings, and talk about different things like that. Next week, we're going to be covering the dysphoria of Black women. I know we didn't get a chance to get to the Mother's Day topic, so happy Mother's Day to everyone. I'm so sorry, time ran over. So when we come back next Tuesday, which is the Sunday, well, the Tuesday after Mother's Day, we're going to have some special things. I got some special prizes that I want you guys to be able to call in for. Make sure you tune in, 614-781-0754. We want to interact with you, so we want you to give us a phone call. Make sure you join us next week at 6 p.m. We're going to be doing the diaspora of the African American woman. And I'm hoping to have a special guest star of some different cultures and races instead of just only the African American woman alone. I want the world to understand what we're going through, and I want to be able to connect with other women so that they actually can understand us. We come off a little bit aggressive to a lot of people, but we're really great, and we have the greatest hearts, and we're really, really good and big on spirit. So we want you to understand who we are in your communities, who we are in this world, and the position that we play. Please tune in. Next week, we'll be discussing the diaspora of the African American woman. And I'm hoping that you have a blessed and beautiful evening. Thank you for tuning in to the Divas Corner Talk Show.
Before we sign out again, that number is 1-800-SUICIDE. That's 1-800-74-2433. And that local number is 614-221-5445.
And I know we want air.
221-5445. And you cannot remember those. As a child, you are taught 911, baby, is all you need. It's 911.
Call for an emergency. And just in case you didn't know, World Health Day celebrates on April the 7th. I know our show didn't begin to air until after that, but April 7th. So mark your calendars for the anniversary of World Health Day and take it serious. Let's get some people out here running some races and raising some money so that we can make mental illness aware in our communities. Thank you so much. Your number one host in the city. Welcome to my hood, baby, where we keep it real.
All right, bye. Divas Corner.
Divas.
You, if our love was a drug, and I such